Bonjour, l'équipe de Fast News accueille les membres du bureau du Student Council pour une émission spéciale. Pour mener l'interview d'aujourd'hui, Charlotte Santulin, présidente du Student Council, Alexandra Ileli, vice-présidente, Maya Okochu, secrétaire et journaliste à Fast News, Justin Gingrich, trésorier, Cyprien Devisme et moi, journaliste à Fast News. En effet, nous avons le grand plaisir de recevoir Monsieur René-Pierre Azria, invité d'honneur du gala de notre école, la FASNI. Today, we are delighted to welcome Monsieur René-Pierre Azria, guest of honor at the gala of our school, FASNI. Monsieur Azria, you hold many degrees in finance, and you have been a French businessman for over 30 years now. You are the founder and CEO of the United States advisory firm Tegris LLC, a private investment bank.
You are also a true philanthropist. Your many philanthropic activities include being a board member at the American Jewish Committee and at the Jewish Museum in New York. You have also been awarded the insignia of Chevalier in the Legion of Honor in September 2013.
We noted that you hold degrees in finance from different universities. Some of these universities are in France, others in London or New York. You are obviously a polyglot as you speak French, English, Japanese, and Italian. It seems that languages are very important to you. Can you tell us what bilingualism and multiculturalism mean to you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me today at this broadcast. I'm very, very honored and very happy. Congratulations to you, to your team, and to your colleagues for setting up Fast News. It's terrific. So thank you for your question. I think every language is like a window on a world. And knowing one language is the norm in America. And for us, we're very lucky. We know at least two, right? French and English. And some of us know many others. Every one of these languages has its own nuances, its own emphasis, its own sensitivity, and that gives us a better understanding of other people when we speak, when we travel, when we speak to other people. You know, in New York City, there are 200 languages spoken, 200 languages. So of course, most people understand English and or Spanish or both, but that leaves 198 other languages that people want to communicate in. And it's wonderful to be able to relate to other people in their own language, and that's why it's been a gift to me to be able to speak other languages. Oh, by the way,
Pourquoi pensez-vous qu'il est important d'apprendre plusieurs langues dans le monde aujourd'hui? Why do you think it's important to learn different languages in today's world?
well, the issue that we face is a lack of nuances in the world. And knowing languages enables us to grasp nuances, right? So either when we travel, or when we relate to our neighbors, or to other people in the street, or here in a school, knowing other languages enables us to go deeper into the meaning of what they have in mind. Does that help you?
Yes. When did you begin being a philanthropist?
I think a philanthropist in the American sense is someone who gets involved in a cause and who gives money to a cause. And I think when I arrived in the States, a little bit after I arrived in the States, there was an election. And in that election, I remember seeing a whole page in the New York Times underwritten by the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center. And the SPLC was talking about a man called David Duke, explaining that David Duke, who was running for elections down in Texas, was a grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and that he was an awful person. And that's, I think, the first time that I got committed to a cause. I was very upset by the fact that a man who had been in the Ku Klux Klan could run for elections in a democratic country. And so I gave money to help defeat David Duke. He was defeated, by the way, and that was the end of his political career, although he is still around and he's still spewing his poison every time he can. And once you see that what you did was helpful and that the cause touched your heart, right, then you get involved with other causes and you discover, I think philanthropy is a discovery process where you find that certain things matter to you, certain things matter less to you. That's why people in New York can have a great passion for the ballet and support the ballet all their lives, and other people will have a great passion for human rights and will support human rights all their lives, and it's not contradictory, it's just a difference in emphasis. So ever since that campaign, that electoral campaign, I have supported the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is, by the way, based in Alabama. As you know, Alabama is a state that is not known for openness, political openness, and it really requires a center like this one to protect the people who have less means, less resources, less rights, and to sort of equalize the balance. Does that respond to your question? Yeah?
What was your favorite project you raised money for so far? Quel était votre projet préféré?
Ooh, that's a difficult question because I love every project that I raise money for, and I love them equally. So over the years, I have been active with human rights, which are, I think, very, very important to us today and to you who are the future, to your generation, to make sure that human rights are preserved in America and throughout the world. But I raised also with my wife a lot of money for Action Against Hunger, which is an association that is preoccupied with famine and illnesses and thirst or the lack of clean water in disaster-struck countries. And then I have a fondness for the arts, and I financed several art exhibitions. So it's, as you see, kind of eclectic. In other words, eclectic means I touched on a number of things. Education, however, is the one that I have always been involved with, because education is really the future of a country. And sometimes I feel like in the States, we have wonderful education in some areas and a lack of education in some others. So it's important to keep pushing the idea that education matters.
The Student Council raises several $100s a year at FASTME. How much money do you raise for a particular cause each year?
That's a very financial question. First of all, congratulations to you on raising hundreds of dollars. It is not easy. It's a little easier for people like me who are in business, because first of all, I make money, and second, I meet people who make money. And the beautiful thing in America is that when people succeed, part of their success is then to share what they earned, whether they earned money and they share their money, or whether they were able to create other kinds of wealth, art or other, and then they share that with others. So I probably raise a large multiple of what you mentioned, of hundreds of dollars every year, but it depends. One thing which is important is that once through your actions and through your leadership, you manage to get someone to commit to giving, that person will probably be interested in giving all their lives. And so even if you think, well, you know, we raised only $5 from that person, well, it's important because maybe for the next 80 years that person will give money. And it may be $5 today, it may be $1 million one day, right? So the important thing is to keep educating people about the joy of giving.
And how do you raise the money?
So the key is the joy of giving. In other words, you cannot raise money from people by begging them to give. Please, please, please give, give, give. No, that doesn't work. What you have to find is how people will be happy to give and will be honored to be giving. So that means that you have to find a cause, or you have to find a way to talk to these people's heart about, you know, what matters to them, what matters to people close to them, and then they will be more than happy to give.
How do you motivate others to raise or donate money?
So leadership is what it takes. In other words, if you are committed and you show you're committed and you spend energy giving money, sharing your knowledge, rather than in what we spend our life in, you know, which could be work, for instance, then people follow. People say, wow, you know, I want to be part of that adventure as well. And it has to be an adventure. It has to be an experience. It cannot be a chore. And it has to come from the heart. So there are good ways to raise money and less good ways to raise money. I think the less good way is to appeal to people's pride or ego, right? And the good way, the better way anyway, is to appeal to people's sense of experience, fulfillment, responsibility, empathy, and I think that's what works.
Would you say that working in finance helps you with your philanthropic activities? Est-ce que travailler dans la finance vous aide dans vos activités philanthropiques?
Oui, certainement, pour plusieurs raisons. La première, c'est que dans la finance, on gagne de l'argent, donc on a, en général, donc on a de l'argent que l'on peut disposer, dont on peut disposer pour faire des dons. La seconde, c'est qu'on rencontre d'autres personnes qui sont dans le même métier, dans le même univers, et qui eux aussi sont intéressés à partager ce qu'ils ont gagné. Et enfin, parce que je pense que pour qu'un projet philanthropique soit crédible, que les gens y croient, il faut pouvoir dire, regardez, j'ai regardé ça sur le plan financier et ça marche. Et alors à ce moment-là, les gens n'ont pas peur que leur argent soit gaspillé, tu vois, ou qu'il soit dispersé. Et ils se disent, bah oui, alors si vous me dites que ça marche, ben moi aussi je veux bien participer. Voilà.
How would you encourage young people to become philanthropists?
Well, I think the first move, the first part of this, is to do what you guys are doing today. In other words, to be engaged in a project, right? So that's what you're doing, that's what you have been doing. You are part of building in your case, a news organization, right? An educational organization. It could be other things. And once a person is involved in that project, they probably will get involved in a lot of other projects. You know, they will represent their classes in various issues. They will be interested in helping build houses in a devastated area, and so on and so forth. And that, to me, is philanthropy. Right? Philanthropy is not just about giving money to a cause, it's creating a cause. It's building all the resources to respond to a human issue.
Comment parvenez-vous à gérer votre temps afin d'aider autant d'organisations? How do you manage the time it takes to serve so many organizations?
I'm very bad at it. It's a challenge. And so from time to time I step back and I say, you know, I have to choose. I cannot do everything. So I have in the past stepped away from several organizations or activities I was involved in just because I couldn't handle it. And it's better to be realistic. Otherwise, one does half a job, and that's not good enough. You know, you have to do things well. So you'd rather do one thing or two things properly than 22 things poorly. Especially when you're like me, you're not very well organized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azria, for accepting our invitation today, as well as being the guest of honor at our gala this year. It was a great pleasure to meet you today. We would also like to thank Mrs. Anne Belliard, our guest gala chair, as well as the entire gala team for this tremendous dedication to our school.
Thank you very much, and thank you to you.